Hello and welcome to Picture Astrology. Sun is going to enter its own in Mool Trikon sign of Leo around August 16-17 and will remain in this sign for next 1 month up to September 16 or 17. And when Sun enters its own territory of Leo, the king of our zodiac system becomes exceedingly strong, and this strong Sun gives profound effects on every chart. So in this video we will discuss effects of Sun transit in Leo on all the signs, and you can see this video for your moon sign as well as your ascendant sign. It is applicable to both of these signs. So before we look at the individual signs and its impact for each of the 12 zodiacs, here are some important things which are going to affect all ascendant or moon signs. So first of all, not only Sun will be in its own sign, but two of the slowest moving planet in Vedic astrology, Jupiter and Saturn, both of them are going to remain at Kendra position from Sun throughout. Saturn will be in the 7th house from Sun, and Jupiter will be in the 10th house from Sun. So this transit of Sun in Leo will further gain a lot of strength, because if you have seen my videos, you know that Kendra houses are the strongest houses in any chart. And while looking at the transit effect of Sun, the strongest Kendra house, 10th house, is occupied by Jupiter, which will, at least for the half time of this transit, that is until at least August 25, Mars will also be there, and Saturn will be occupying the second most strong Kendra position. So this transit or this 1 month time is going to be full of a lot of activities. And many people ask me that Sun will be in its own sign, whereas Saturn will also be right opposite to it and in its own sign as well as in its Mool Trikon sign of Aquarius. So which planet is going to dominate? And this is a general query which many people ask me, and here is one simple way to answer this. If you look at the T9 or Navamsas which Sun is going to traverse throughout this 30-day period when it will be in its own sign of Leo, you will find that it will go through from Aries till Sagittarius Navamsa. And Navamsa position during the transit of a planet can really fine-tune some of the predictions. So the whole 30 days of Sun's stay in Leo is not going to remain the same. And you can easily break down different effects based on the Navamsa which Sun traverses. But that is for very precise predictions. In this case, the important thing to see is Sun will never traverse through a Navamsa which will be ruled by Saturn. Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius signs, and Sun is never going to traverse those two signs in Navamsa at all. So for most part, Saturn will not be able to dominate Sun. This is one quick way which can be applicable, especially in these cases when two planets of totally opposite nature both are occupying their Mool Trikon sign. And now let's move on to individual ascendant and moon signs, and as always our emphasis will be on the practical aspects of this transit. So let's start with the Aries ascendant or Aries moon sign folks. So Sun will be moving in your 5th house, which is one of the most auspicious houses in a chart, and Sun is a great friend of your ascendant lord, that is Mars. So this is actually a very lucky transit for you, especially given the fact that Mars is well placed from Sun, which is Mars will be in the 10th house from Sun, as well as Venus is occupying the 5th house. When And I forgot that Jupiter will also be in the 10th house from Sun. So there is going to be a lot of help and support to already strong position of Sun, and therefore this time you will definitely get support in your professional life from your seniors, from people who are in executive positions. Those people are going to favor you. So please make good use of this time. A lot of your thoughts and ideas, they will be recognized in workplace, and this is the time where you can shine very well. But remember, we discussed earlier in this video that Saturn is also going to have a direct aspect on Sun, and Sun and Saturn are pretty much enemies of each other, whereas Saturn is also enemy of your ascendant or moon sign, which is Aries, and Saturn is also having an aspect on your ascendant or moon sign. So although you are going to get good and easy success during this time, but there will still be opposition especially which can come from folks who are subordinate to you or report to you in workplace or otherwise. It also means office colleagues in some occasions give you some trouble. This especially when Mercury is retrograde right now and will remain so until 21 or 24th of August. And so during the time when Sun goes into the D9 or Navamsa of Mercury, which is also going to happen around 21st to 26th of August, somewhere between these period. So especially these 4-5 days, you might feel little bit pressured or have some verbal spate, especially because Mars is also aspecting this position, and Mars is already sitting in your 2nd house. So these will be the time periods where you should be a little careful about your speech, how you speak, what you speak, especially with your colleagues and subordinates, and also to some extent within your family, especially with your siblings. But other than these few precautions and few days within this month, this Sun transit is actually going to be very fruitful for you. You would likely also meet many people, make new friends, or meet with old friends. Get-togethers are on the card, and those get-togethers, those social connections will also be helpful for you in your professional life. So overall, a good and lucky transit for Aries folks. Now let's move on to the second sign, Taurus. So for Taurus, Sun is moving into your 4th house, and it's the Lord of 4th house, Leo sign also. So 4th house Lord coming into the 4th house, most people will say it's a very favorable position. But this transit is especially going to give good result to you until August 21st, or in fact August 24, because Venus, which is your sign lord of Taurus, which is Venus, that is going to remain in the 4th house until August 24. And it is always observed that when, especially in such a case, when Sun is transiting into your 4th house, if Venus is strongly placed, then you get much better results in terms of your home, your real estate, or even new cars or luxury items. Until August 24, there is time to attain or buy those things, get new TV, get new sofa, or some or the other such activity is very likely to happen. But because after August 24, Venus is going to go into your 5th house, and now this video is not about Venus transit, but still the transit of Venus is going to greatly affect the effects of Sun. That's why I'm kind of talking about it. So when Venus goes into the 5th house, it is going to go in the debilitated sign of Virgo, where Ketu is already present. So what this, if you see the flow of events, what it indicates is, if you buy something new, all these things which I just talked about, then please be careful and make sure you are buying the right product, because when Venus goes into the next house, the same things can give some or the other kind of issues. Not too bad, but things like, you might find some defect, you might have to return it, or you get a sudden feeling of, oh, I should have brought something else rather than this. Those kind of situation can come in. So definitely need to be careful while buying anything new or luxury item during this time. Now, profession wise, this is a very good transit. Especially after August 24, you might have to travel or go meet new people, especially for work related purposes. In any case, there is a strong chance that there will be few days where you will have to stay away from home after August 24, or more so after August 24, especially because Sun will be in the 4th house aspected by Mars and Saturn simultaneously for few days. But all these travel and staying away from home is actually going to be good for your professional life. It in some ways also going to be good for your family life, because it's always good sometimes, just give space to home, to people at home. And Sun in the 4th house does give those kind of situations. But professionally, this period will be very beneficial and fruitful. But because Saturn is always going to remain opposite in the sign of Aquarius, you will have to deal with people tactfully, or while you are traveling, some or the other kind of niggle or problem can give you some trouble. And in terms of health also, when a couple of days of time when Venus is actually going to transit over into Virgo sign, which will happen around August 24, 25. During that time, just be a little careful about health, especially because Venus, which is your lord of your sign, is going to get weakened, and effect of such transit on health can be felt during those 1 or 2 days especially. And given the fact that Saturn is also going to have direct aspect on Sun, so especially if you have any blood pressure related issue, then make sure you are taking your pills correctly on time, or doing your yoga or exercise without fail, especially between August 24, 25 and 26, those 2-3 days. But other than that, it's going to be a helpful transit for Taurus folks. Now let's move on to the sign of Gemini. Sun is transiting into your 3rd house of Leo, and this is the place where Mercury will already be present. And Mercury is very important planet for Gemini, as it is the lord of your sign. So this transit of Sun is definitely going to make you very active and enterprising. So if you are planning to start anything new, plan for some kind of a travel to some new places or hill station, or some place where you have not been before, something which is little bit enterprising or requires a little bit of willpower or push from your side. So those kind of activities are definitely on the card. But because Mercury is retrograde and Saturn is also aspecting it, you will still have some hesitation, but the strength of Sun should overpower it. So definitely a very active time where you will definitely explore something new, and that will also be good in your professional life. Your speech, your eloquence, the way you talk will be impressive. You will be able to impress others, and that ability is going to help you in the external world, in the professional life. But in terms of home, you have to be little bit careful about your interactions with your family member, because this transit of Sun can give tendency to take things for granted. If say you have a younger sibling, Sun here can make you feel like it's your right that your sibling will always give you time or do something for you, or some kind of even little bit of an ego issue can come up. So please be careful about that. If you have elders in your family, then the combination, the Mars aspects here with Sun and Mercury, and they simultaneously aspecting 9th house, which is occupied by Saturn retrograde, is showing that there is chances of fever or acidic issues with elders in the family, especially your father. But those are likely to happen only during few time periods of this Sun transit, and especially when Mercury goes back into Cancer sign after a week or so, then those chances will be much lesser. But still, elders in the family need to take care of their health during this transit. And one more thing, if your spouse is working in otherwise also, there are chances that in a male chart especially, that your spouse would need to travel or stay away from home due to certain duties. It could be professional or other family responsibilities, and due to that you might have to take care of your family yourself for a couple of days during this transit. So now let's move on to Cancer sign. So for Cancer sign, Sun is moving into the 2nd house, and this is where Mercury and Venus are already placed, and it's moving into its own sign of Leo. So very first thing with Cancer native is you need to be really careful about your speech, in the sense that saying the truth or speaking the truth is probably not always the best strategy, especially when this truth can hurt someone. Because Sun here, when it moves into this kind of situation where Saturn and Jupiter both are at cardinal houses or at square from the Sun, it gives a tendency to speak in a very plain way, to speak truth, but that truth can be detrimental to some of your relationship or even within the family dynamics. So especially during the time when Mercury is retrograde and also transiting over the Leo sign, it will become even more imperative that you look after your words carefully. Now another important aspect of this Saturn or this Sun transit is that it gives a lot of sense of self-respect, and in some cases, especially now because Saturn is also at the 8th house in its Mool Trikon sign and aspecting it directly, along with obviously Jupiter here, that self-pride, that sense of self-pride can be excessive, in the sense that it can even prevent you from asking for help from others, and that too in situations where simply reaching out to a person to get their help can be immensely gainful for you. So one important aspect during this transit for Cancer natives would be to kind of have some kind of a pragmatic approach, and don't let an opportunity go by just because you think that you don't want to ask for help from anyone. And Sun here can give this tendency, especially given these transits, where you want to probably do everything by yourself. But to make the best use of this time, you should have a little pragmatic and practical approach, as that can help you capitalize on this time very well. And if you do that, this time can also be very gainful for monetary related situation. It can give you situations where you can get new sources of income or new ways of earning money. But just remember what I said just a minute ago, that those situations, those opportunities would require you to collaborate and work with others. And if you can do that, those opportunities will be extremely beneficial. Another important aspect of this Sun transit, especially given the fact that Saturn and Jupiter are here, and Jupiter is actually going to be mitigating factor here, but still if you are working with any kind of government contract or in any kind of contract for that matter, or you are trying to get into a new legal arrangement, then please make sure that all the rules and regulations are closely followed, because this position of Sun can give situations where even small oversight, not anything deliberate, but even small oversight can cause little bit of issue, little bit of fines here and there. And in general, this combination here, the way things are lined up, just require you to be little bit careful about following even nitty-gritties and small things, because things which can get overlooked at other times are generally caught when such transit occurs. So overall, a good time for Cancer folks. If you can make good use of this time, it can give you many good opportunities. Now let's move on to Leo sign itself. So Sun is moving into your own house, in the first house of Leo sign, and needless to say that this is a very positive change, especially until the last month when Sun was traversing the 12th house from your sign, and in general that time is usually a lot more challenging. So this transit of Sun will anyways relieve you from a lot of negativities which you are facing from the last 30 days. So definitely a transit which is going to bring instant relief and happiness for Leo sign. But this is also going to keep you quite busy in a lot of activities, and these things are actually going to be very good for your professional life. With Jupiter and Mars already placed in the 10th house, Sun coming over here in the first will definitely bring you very good positive attention and also recognition of all the hard work which you might have put in, especially in the last 30 days. So professionally and work-wise, very good transit which will bring you some great results in next 30 days. But that amount of excessive work or excessive activities in professional life is possibly going to make your family life a little bit of an area of concern, in the sense that you will not be able to find enough time for your near and dear ones. So a good balance is required, and that will be especially true when Venus moves out and goes into the debilitated sign of Virgo, which will happen after August 24 and 25. So especially during that time, you might feel that you are lacking in your attention to your family matters, and especially towards your spouse, because Venus will become debilitated with Ketu. While that is happening, Sun will still be opposite Saturn, and both in a very strong position. Requires you to be at least little bit more gentle and attentive towards your spouse. Also, one more thing to note is that this transit of Sun, along with the configuration which we see right now, can give you some or the other kind of fluctuations in your behavior. It can make you sometimes very generous, sometimes very loving, and on the other times extremely aggressive and dominating. So that kind of a swing between being very soft to being sometimes unreasonably hard is quite likely during this time. In various other transits like Venus going into Virgo, Mercury going back into your 12th house, those transits are also going to further amplify these tendencies of kind of swinging between extremes. So this is one thing you need to be a little careful about. But other than these aspects, a definitely good time for you to shine, and if you just take care of these minor or have some or adjust your attitude according to these demands which this current month is going to pose, then you're going to have a wonderful time both professionally and in terms of family. Now let's move on to the sign of Virgo. For you lovely Virgo folks, Sun is going to come in your 12th house, and it's the own sign of Sun as well. So this is a month where you need to be a little bit patient and think long term, at least for this month, because this is not the time for instant gratification. Although until August 24, until this time when Venus will remain alongside Sun, until that time, which is about first 8 to 10 days, this transit of Sun is actually not going to give you any negative effects. In fact, it can give you a lot of positive opportunities of gaining some wealth, new opportunities in work life, and also time for enjoyment with friends and family and visiting new places. So at least till August 24, Sun transit should be better. After that, you must maintain a little cautious approach, especially in terms of expenses of money. Because what's going to happen after August 24 is Venus will come in your first house and it will be debilitated here, while Sun will be in its own sign in the 12th, and that is the time period where your calculations about expenditure can go very wrong, and you can end up spending a lot more money than you originally planned for any activity or any project. And some of these expenditures, because the position of 6th house and the Lord of 6th house being present already there along with Mars aspecting the Sun, could be just to kind of show off, a tendency where money may not be really required to be spent, but some kind of a social competition or even ego can also cause you to spend a lot of money. So please be careful about that. Now in professional life, this Saturn or this Sun is going to have a very tricky effect. It is going to be very good, especially or probably only when Mercury moves into the sign of Cancer, which will happen around 22nd of August. But it will also give tricky situations, especially if you are a person to whom many people report. If there are people who report to you, then they are going to feel some or the other kind of discontent. And in professional life, these are the time periods when many of those people, or at least some of those people, sorry, not many, can even resign, and that can force you into a little difficult situation. See, the Sun here is getting afflicted by 6th Lord present in 6th along with Mars, which is not a very friendly sign to you. So these kind of situations are common. So you should be especially little careful in dealing with people who report to you in your work life and your colleagues in general. But at the same time, some of those times when Mercury comes here in Cancer can also give you some kind of travel which will be helpful for your professional life, and that could also be to try to douse some professional fires. That means some excess pressure in the work, but that is okay. All the hard work you put in now will be richly rewarded in the coming months. And one more very important aspect of this Sun transit, which you should be, if you are aware about it, then itself kind of changes things in many ways. That Sun position here, especially in the 12th house, can give you more than normal mood swings, especially in the type like you will become little bit more skeptical than you probably are in general. And these tendencies will, and you can observe it, will start manifesting within first 8 to 10 days. And that is because that will be during that time when we already said, position of Saturn and Mars aspecting Sun. But during first 8 to 10 days, Moon's transit will also be going to be towards Saturn, Rahu in your 8th house. So during this time especially, changes in mood or in general, just being skeptical, especially towards people who report to you your professional life, and also to very little extent towards the family members can happen. And it most likely, to lesser or more degree, Virgo folks will observe this, because Virgo anyways has a very, very fertile mind. The kind of details a Virgo can observe, nobody else can. And if you just develop a little bit of self-reflection, you will definitely find this kind of mood swings happening. So just be aware of it. You have support of Jupiter. If you can just control that part and not let your relationship within work life or home suffer because of this, then you can actually make very good use of this time. Because what happens is, if you can just control some of these behaviors, then the time ahead, and even the time during this month when some of the more favorable transits happen, like Mercury going into 11th as well as Mars coming up into your 10th, then you can not only feel relieved at workspace, but this good behavior of the during first 8 to 10 days will even put you in a very good spot. Now, just one last thing which is related to health. So for Virgo folks, again, given the situation of the planetary position, in case you are susceptible to any urinary tract related issues, just take a little extra care during this month, especially during the first 8 to 10 days, because depending upon your strength and positions of your personal chart, these positions kind of shows that increase in water and urinary tract related issues. It could just be you might feel you are drinking more water than usual, and without going into the much astrological details, but some or the other urinary tract related issue, if you have faced problem in past, then they can come up, but the indications are that they will be easily manageable. So thank you, Virgo folks. Just take care of these simple practical things and you will find the sun position give you much better rewards. Now let's move on to the sign of Libra. So for Libra folks, sun is moving into your 11th house, and a strong sun in its own sign in 11th house is generally considered to be extremely lucky position. So this transit of sun is especially going to give you some good news in your professional and social spheres. Especially during the first 8 to 10 days, sun will be along with Venus and Mercury here. So you can definitely look forward to much help and support from your professional life than the previous 30 days. Previous 30 days, sun was transiting in your 10th house. That can actually make you feel like, given the situation of especially Jupiter and Saturn, like you are trying to boil the ocean by yourself. And there will be much relief from that situation, and you will find the much increased support in your professional life. However, we always try to look beyond the obvious in our monthly videos. So one thing, especially for people who are in business, so this time period, as I said, you will find good professional success, but you will also feel little bit more pushed by your clients or your counterparts, and that push is actually good, as it will result in increased monetary benefits for you. There will definitely be many meetings, social interactions, and those can also give better and newer opportunity for you. And these things are especially going to be true during the first 8 to 10 days starting the sun's transit. But things you need to be a little careful about will be after August 24, if you are going into any kind of social gathering or professional gathering. In fact, you will find the opportunities of being in social gathering and fun meetings with friends more likely after August 24-25 time. But if there is social parties which include any kind of alcoholic drink, then the likelihood of you consuming more than the appropriate amount is going to be pretty high within few days after August 24, because Venus is going to come into Rahu Ketu axis while Sun will be here as well. And in general, your food and drinking habits, you need to be a little careful about in the second half of this transit. But what it also means is that you will find yourself in situations where you are having a lot of fun with your friends and family. And even if there are professional trips, those will also include a lot of happy hours kind of situation. And during these times, you will also be able to crack some new opportunities in a relatively sudden manner, because this time is forming a very strong Viparit Raj Yoga for the Libra natives. So if in your chart any of the Dasha or Antardasha of Jupiter is going on, whether in the main period or sub periods, then such sudden positive events are very likely to materialize. And one thing which you can do to benefit most from this planetary combination which is forming is just be a little bit extra careful in your interactions during the social gatherings, as I said, especially when a lot of fun may be involved. And also be more attentive towards your counterparts in work and professional life, because those people can really help you materialize those events. So overall, a very good 1 month coming up for Libra. Hope you guys make most of it. Now let's move on to the sign of Scorpio. For Scorpio folks, Sun is entering your 10th house, and a plethora of planet or influences are already present. Saturn right opposite to it, Jupiter, Mars are going to be 10th from 10th, whereas Mercury, Venus will also be present. And the upcoming transits in this month are also extremely favorable for the Scorpio natives. So many great things coming your way, but let's see some of the most important things you should be aware and also keep in mind. First of all, this is going to be a great 30 odd days for work. But at the same time, you will feel a little bit pressured to do extra. And this extra pressure may not always come from seniors at work, but it could also come from your own higher expectation from yourself. This is actually going to make you quite ambitious, and that ambition is going to fuel your progress and give great results in professional life. So many great things about this Sun's transit, but this same Sun can also give you an increase in your sense of self-respect, which others can also perceive as being really egoistic. And this one tendency can create some issues, mostly in the professional or work area, but also to a lesser degree in your personal relationships as well. And more so specifically, multiple other transits are also supporting that. So you will get good success, good name and fame, but just be little careful about this getting translated into your behavior with others. One another important aspect of this transit, it shows that suddenly you will have an increased awareness about your own health. So if you are trying to start some kind of an exercise regime, if you are looking to start yoga or hitting the gym, you will find that much needed motivation very easily during this time. So this is actually great news, because the demands of your professional and the kind of activities you are going to get involved in requires a very sound and healthy body. And you are actually naturally going to get that motivation to stay fit. And if you can develop some kind of routine during these next 30 days, routine about your daily exercises, then it is very likely that it can last for the much longer period given the planetary situation. So please do definitely make use of this time in cultivating some kind of self-care and exercise routine. Now, one important thing about this increased sense of self-awareness or increased sense of self-respect, that especially in case of a woman's chart, So if you are a girl or woman, or if your spouse or partner who is from female gender, they are going to also feel some kind of ego tensions with their partners in personal life. So in general, professional relationships, but especially for women, relationship with your spouse as well. And one of the reasons for these tensions could be your increased involvement in the professional activities. But good thing is, this will automatically subside during the next month in the next transit. So overall, great time for Scorpio folks. Please make best use of it, especially as it can help you form much needed habit for your health. Now let's move on to Sagittarius sign. For Sagittarius, Sun is moving into 9th house of luck. And such a transit of Sun here is generally considered to give many great opportunities. But this also comes with a few caveats. So let's look at them one by one. So for work or profession, this is actually going to be a very good time. You will not only be able to find success through your own ventures, through your own enterprises, and if there is anything which you are trying to start, any new project, any new ideas, or implement in your business or professional life, this is going to be a great time for that. And you are likely to attain good reward and success due to that. But at the same time, if you are in job and looking for a new opportunities, then movement of Sun in this 9th house definitely shows new job opportunities coming your way. People who are in professional life or business can find newer opportunities of business, newer contracts, new areas of expansion. So overall, to explore any new opportunity in work life, this is a great time. But here comes one caveat, that the position of Sun right now, for many signs we have seen in this video, is showing fluctuating mood. But something similar with a different flavor is getting observed for Sagittarius folks. What the Sun here shows that you may find a situation where some subjects or some things for which you used to strongly believe and also publicly discuss and air your views, you might find that you are changing your thought process related to those subjects. Now this is a sign of increased awareness, because as they say, only a fool never changes their mind. But at the same time, especially in your professional or work life, this change of stance can also put some question mark in people who work with you, and they can either doubt your intentions as to why you are changing your mindset, or even in sometimes doubt your intentions to do that. So an increased self-awareness will be of great help to Sagittarius folks, especially in terms of your strong views, because this position or this transit of all these planets definitely shows some changes in your viewpoints. Now in terms of your relationships, overall this transit is going to be good. However, if there are elders in your family, then there could be some temperamental difference or difference of opinion, because this transit in the overall chart shows a very strong mindset both for you and for also your elders and seniors, and this can even reflect in your work life. If you have a senior person or your boss who you report to, especially if they are a little older in age, then please deal with them through tact and diplomacy, especially during the times when Mercury also goes in 8th house. But except for these few simple things, overall this transit is going to be very, very beneficial for Sagittarius folks. And not just this transit, in fact coming next 2 to 3 months can prove to be exceedingly helpful in the work and opportunities you capture during this month, will give you much better results during the later part of the year. So a very important time for Sagittarius natives. Now let's move on to the Capricorn natives. For Capricorn, Sun is visiting your 8th house. one of the most mysterious houses, and is going to be right opposite to the most important planet for you, which is Saturn. And this transit is actually going to give a variety of different effects in next 30 days for Capricorn natives. And very first thing to keep in mind is to try and remain really patient for next 30 days, both at work and also at home. Because Sun's transit here in the 8th house, right opposite to Lord of your sign Saturn, coupled with other planetary combination, is going to give you situation where it is going to be very easy for you to be restless. So these 30 days especially, you need to navigate these situations and know that some or the other situations like this many times in a very sudden and unexpected way are going to show up. And you might feel that, suddenly you are put in a brand new situation. Suddenly, say in work, you would be given an assignment which you had no idea about, or asked to work on projects which you have never worked in past, or be in situations where you don't know what's going on next. But even when such things happen, know that there are other planetary transits, especially Jupiter is really supporting you. So if you just patiently get over that initial shock, you will be able to move on, perform well, and turn around that opportunity or turn around that precarious situation into a very good opportunity for your growth, especially after the first 10 days of the transit, because then Venus and Mercury are going to become way more supportive to you. And not just that, after these 30 days, the next transit of Sun will also bring you very good rewards for your persistent work during this time. So apart from that, you also need to look after the words you speak. When put into certain situations or even in spot, if you can keep your cool during this time, the kind of rewards you are set to gain will also be unexpected. So please keep this thing in mind at least for the next 30 days and turn around every sudden change into a sudden opportunity for yourself. Another thing in terms of your family is that the transits here can take your attention away from your family members, especially your spouse, and they can feel neglected. So make sure you give enough attention to family members, especially your spouse. And this is applicable for both male and female chart. To your husbands or wives, just be a little more attentive. And one more important aspect is about the health. The transits here right now can easily give food related problems related to indigestion, problems related to excretory systems. And especially if you are prone to these kind of issues, then take good care of your food habits. Try and be regular in your food, also in your sleep, because health of your stomach and gut area is little challenging during these times. But this Sun here, especially later half of this transit, is also going to give you some good travel opportunities. These travel opportunities could be for professional as well as personal reasons. So definitely as the transit moves on into its second phase, after the initial 10 to 15 days, this position is going to increase significantly. And towards the end of the year, you will find yourself in progressively better position from here on. Now let's move on to Aquarius sign. For Aquarius folks, Sun is moving into your 7th house and in its own sign of Leo. This kind of transit is actually very tricky. It gives a variety of different effects, and during this 30 days of period, you will be able to observe different results in say same area. And let's see how. First of all, relationship. The first 10 days of this transit is actually going to be very positive for people who are trying to find new partner, or people who are already in relationship or married and trying to have expand their family. Great time for that. It shows increase in the levels of passion and good relationship with your partner, especially during the first 10 to 12 days of these transit. After that, especially due to Venus transit getting into the 6th house and with certain malefics, the next 10 to 12 days, especially if you are a male native, then it can show some distance with your partner, which could be due to travel reasons, that you might have to travel for your professional life, so you have to stay away from your partner for some time, because this time definitely shows travel. And the same time can also show some temperamental differences as well with your spouse, again more so for a male chart. So a mixed 10 and 10 days period. But overall, from relationship point of view, in summary, this is going to be a very positive change, which can in many ways take your relationship with your partners to next levels. And as we just said, the position of Sun here is definitely going to give many opportunities of travel. These travels could also be in woman chart due to some family responsibilities, having to visit the parents and parental family for some function or work, but visits to new places and away from partner very much possible. This is actually also a very good time for professional life, especially if you are in some kind of business partnership, or in your work life. You will find your counterparts being supportive to you, and more than being supportive, you will find mutually beneficial and positive relationships, meaning your partner or your counterpart is not going to go extra mile to help and support you, but your relationship will be mutually benefit. You both will benefit from each other's help, and thus your business relationships will grow and thrive. These are also good times for starting a partnership business or forming new relationship or new associations in work life. So people can find new contracts, new areas of business, and overall a time for expansion in your work life through your connections with people who are equal to you. So there are many positives for Aquarius folks which you should make good use of during this time. And one more important thing, especially during the second half of this transit, especially with Venus transiting into the 8th house, that you need to be a little bit careful during your travels at this time. Things like missing out some things, losing an item here and there in the journey, breakdown of a vehicle, those kind of things could be possible, especially in the second half. So just need to be careful about it. But overall, a time with many positives for Aquarius to capitalize. Now let's move on to the sign of Pisces. For Pisces folks, Sun is moving in your 6th house of Leo sign. And this is going to give a lot of mixed results for you in many different areas. First of all, such a transit of Sun doesn't let you sit idle. That is one thing which the Pisces folks will observe, that it suddenly gives a lot of activities in many different areas of life. And you might feel like you just can't sit idle or relax during this transit of Sun. But a lot of activities also mean a lot of new opportunities. You might find meeting many new people and making many new associations during this time. And these associations can also be very helpful in your professional life. In work life, especially if you are in job, you can find yourself also suddenly put in a new situation meaning a new project, a completely new team, a completely new set of people you are working with, which can seem intimidating at first, but this also will open new doors of opportunity for you. And especially as this transit progress, and after 8 to 10 days when Venus and Mercury moves in two different directions, then those new set of people or the unknown situation will become much more helpful for you. So if you find yourself with many activities, new situations, deal it with confidence, because it is going to yield much better results going forward or as this transit progresses. Now, two important areas with this transit especially with your relationships. So you are going to meet many new people, and given the situation with Saturn in the 12th house and also Jupiter placement here in Kam Trikona, these new people who you meet, especially when they are from opposite gender, then it can give situation where your simple and maybe innocuous behavior according to you can be perceived in a negative way by the other people. So more so during the first 10 days of this transit, you need to be little bit more aware about this thing. Second thing, in terms of your health, if there are any bones or joint pain related issues, then those things can come up, especially again in the first 10 days of this transit. And especially for people who have some kind of stone, the gallbladder stone or kidney stone related problem, then it can definitely give you a little bit more trouble, or a couple of those days in this month, the experience of that sudden pain which comes with these situations is very likely. So just take whatever precautions are possible if you have such health issues. However, the sun position here is also going to increase your resilience as well as ambition. So even when faced with new situation, you are very likely to come out with flying colors and win over whatever obstacle or opposition you are faced with. So in essence, these new opportunities can become very good stepping stone for you. Given the situation of Jupiter and Sun, you can make very good use of this time. So thank you folks for watching this video. Please do like, subscribe and share this video for maximum reach. Please check the links below to know more about our offers and services. And as always, thank you so much for your support.